Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And as you all know, I just did a story recently on the Boeing strike. Over 33,000 people that have gone on strike with Boeing, Aerospace Defense Company. I did a story on the International Longshoremen's Union Association, where 45,000 dock workers from Maine all the way down to Texas have gone on strike, which will create a hold and a plug on our supply chain of goods. And this is just giving you a temperament of what's going on with our economy as we approach Tuesday for this presidential election. Also, I did a story on what is happening to our drugstores, where we talked about CVS is closing over 900 stores. Rite Aid is closing 500 and has filed for bankruptcy. And yes, Walgreens announced that they're closing 1,200 stores. What does all of this mean? We have inflation. There's a lot going on. As I said, this upcoming Tuesday is this presidential election. And what has been the deleterious effect of the Boeing strike, the International Machinists and Aerospace Association? Well, just when you think it has nothing to do with you, well, there are subsidiary companies in other cities that are associated with Boeing that are now going on strike also. And one particular subsidiary that's here in St. Louis is called GKN. They do and help build Boeing aircrafts. They have not gone on strike yet, but they could have some kind of effect by this Boeing strike since they're in a business relationship with them. But there is also a company called Eaton, E-A-T-O-N, that's based out of the St. Louis Metro East in Troy, Illinois, and which is right across the river from St. Louis. And Eaton, their employees have decided to go on strike in alignment with Boeing. And what could be some of the downfalls from that? Well, if the strike goes on for a while, you're talking about foreclosures of homes. You're talking about forfeitures and seizures of cars, any loans that are out. You're talking about taking care of your daily, monthly bills. It could be at risk, and they are taking a risk going on strike, but they need wage increases while these CEOs and these top individuals in these corporate companies are making millions of dollars, but they don't want to pay the everyday worker. And the middle class, the everyday worker, is the building block and foundation of America. So let's talk about the deleterious effect of the Boeing strike and how it has now affected the workers of Eaton. Eaton workers strike in Southern Illinois call for globally unified fight with Boeing workers. They say we're small individually, but together we can become huge. So on Sunday, October 27th at around 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, the Boeing Workers Rank and File Committee, BWRFC, and the International Workers Alliance of Rank and File Committees, that's the IWARFC, they said they were holding an online meeting to build support in the working class behind the Boeing strike. On Monday, nearly 400 Eaton workers at the Troy and Highland facilities in Southern Illinois went on strike and joined a global strike wave of their co-workers in the United States and in Britain. The B-Line plants manufacture power management systems and equipment for energy utilities and other companies. On Thursdays, workers at a Jackson, Michigan facility in Eaton's aerospace division rejected a third sellout agreement brought back to the United Auto Workers Union, hot on the heels of 33,000 Boeing workers rejecting an International Association of Machinists agreement by 64% on Wednesday. Eaton produces key components for Boeing's commercial and military operations. Both deals at Boeing and Eaton were brokered with close collaboration with Labor Secretary Julie Su and the Biden-Harris administration. Su has worked aggressively to shut down these strikes before they begin to undermine the war aims of U.S. imperialism in the Middle East and Ukraine. But it has only intensified the anger of the workers. Workers at the Jackson facility rejected a deal that maintained a two-tier system, growing healthcare costs, and failed to address any of their needs, much as the Eaton workers in Britain have noted. Eaton workers at the Highland and Troy facilities, right near St. Louis, located in the St. Louis, Missouri metro area, also rejected a deal that they viewed as a slap in the face. The company and the IAM bureaucracy came back with an agreement offering a 12% raise over 3 years that was rejected overwhelmingly by 266 to 22 on October 20th. And remember, the IAM is the International Association of Machinists. So they said by the time our vote took place, the employees were so disgruntled, you could have cut the tension with a knife, a striking worker at the Troy facility told the World Socialist website about the atmosphere during the vote. He said, they seriously did not think that Eaton would propose such a low contract. And then instead of adding anything to the contract, they just took more away. In a similar vein to the Boeing workers fighting for a good retirement, the worker said, they utterly refuse to entertain a 401k, and they add nothing to the pension. Remember, the day of working for a company for 30 or 40 years, that day is over. Most of these companies are trying to get rid of pensions, meaning that you have a retirement after you're no longer there. That became the creation of the 401k plan. They're saying they don't want to entertain the 401k plan and or the pension. The worker also was furious at the company's attempts to lure workers back to the plant, despite widespread opposition. The company sent out a letter that's letting the employees know that they are able to opt out of the union temporarily. Opt out of the union, cross the strike line, and go back to work. Then they can go back to work, and once the strike is over, get back in the union and face no penalties. That would be the biggest mistake that these employees could do if they cross that strike line. And Eaton is telling them they will be able to join back with the union. That is not necessarily true. Eaton does not control the union. That is a double-edged sword all day long. Do not take that whatsoever. Cross the strike line, and then once it's over, you think that the union is going to forget that you crossed? That undermines their entire mission for the strike. The issue that we're most concerned about is just bringing us up to the economy. I mean, right now we are already 15% behind. So that 12% that they wanted to give us over the next 3 years, that's a slap in the face, he said. We just really want fair wages. That's what we want. The economy is constantly changing. Inflation is constantly growing, and our pay has stagnated. Hear that again. He said they want fair wages. The economy is constantly changing. Inflation is constantly growing, but their pay has stagnated. How many people that work for companies feel this way? We know teachers and nurses and several other folks in the middle class feel that way. Drawing a line in the sand, workers are determined to fight back against Eaton and the major corporations to secure a better future. If we accept this contract right now, the Eaton worker said, it is just going to continuously be a struggle just to keep day-to-day living going on. And then, not to say what's going to happen 3 years from now. Workers at Eaton are also seething at the high cost of living they face daily. For the most part, we are basically living paycheck to paycheck, the worker added. I mean, we have to pay rent, mortgages, car payments. We have to buy food that you must buy. We have family to support. We have children and grandchildren. It's just everything. We just want our checks after taxes to be able to support us for a 40-hour a week without having to constantly work overtime. We would like a work-family life balance as well. Throughout both strikes, the IAM, remember that's the International Association of Machinists, the IAM has been starving workers at Boeing and Eaton on the pickets without adequate strike pay, even as the IAM bureaucracy possesses hundreds of millions of dollars in assets from the dues of the workers. Listen to that. As a result, workers have already begun to face financial difficulties. Right now, being on strike is very scary and hard for some of my coworkers. The worker said of the sacrifices being made, because they're already anticipating, the workers are already anticipating losing their homes, losing their vehicles, getting behind on their bills. He said this is rough. However, we need to stay strong, the worker noted, because if we suffer now, it will help us better later. The strike of Boeing workers has galvanized many of the workers at Eaton, who see a joint struggle as critical for them to win. We have been following the Boeing strike carefully at our job location, the worker said. And to be honest with you, I do believe the Boeing strike is what really gave the older, long-term generation that's been there for a while the push that they needed. That change needed to happen, and it needed to happen now. On the need for a unified international fight with the workers in Europe and with the Boeing workers, the worker added, yes, we completely agree with that, because we were just saying that that's why I ended up getting in contact, is the fact that if we are all linked up, we can do something big. We're all small individually, but together we can become huge. Turn 1 into 1,000 and things happen. And if they, the Boeing workers, hold the line, we need to hold the line. And if we do connect with Europe, that just will be major. I mean major. I really do hope we do. I really hope that there is a way that we can connect with them and let them know just as much as they support us. We support them because we need to stay unified. To mount such a fight, however, workers must take the conduct of the strike out of the hands of the IAM. Remember, what's the IAM? The International Association of Machinists, or the UAW bureaucrats, who keep bringing back sellout deals worked out with the company and the government behind closed doors. So they're saying that the IAM or the UAW, they keep bringing back sellout deals that they worked out with the company behind and the government behind closed doors. So, because you remember, Boeing, Eaton are government-based aerospace and defense contracts. So the government is intertwined in this also. He says a unified strike movement composed of a network of rank and file committees built by workers at Eaton in collaboration with workers at Boeing can fight for significantly higher wages, better health care, increased strike pay, and a powerful counteroffensive for the social rights of the working class. So, as you can see, there are deleterious effects. You got Boeing as you got the government, Boeing as the behemoths. And now that Boeing is going on strike, now you're seeing these subsidiaries that are feeling the effect by this strike. And Eaton is one of those companies right here in Troy and Highland, Illinois, in the St. Louis metro area, right across the river from St. Louis. There's also a subsidiary company called GKN here in St. Louis, and I know several people that work there. Right now, they're not striking, but I'm sure that most people are paying very close attention to the behemoth of Boeing, its relationship with the government, the ultimate behemoth, and how these workers are feeling disdain about their treatment and their pay. This has been an outcry of our middle class for years. As you know, in many of our corporate companies, they have gotten rid of pensions, where you worked for a number of years, you didn't have to worry about retirement, and you got X number of dollars a month until you died. And even your spouse could be a part of your pension if you died early. And then they supplicated that with a 401k, where now the employee has to have a vested interest in participation in their own retirement. It took the ownership off the company and placed it on the employee. And if you think about it, 90% of employees throughout America know very little bit about finance, about building a nest egg for their future. How many of these employees have a finance background, an economic background, or an accounting background? So now you're putting the ownership of their retirement in these employees' own hands, and they don't know what to do with it. That is these companies pulling the carpet from up under these employees' feet. And as the cost and rise of everyday usable goods are continuing to go up, usable goods are going up, the value of the dollar is going down. We have pushed trillions of dollars in the marketplace, which has increased inflation, and these individuals cannot even get a pay increase. We're talking 5%, 8% pay increase, and these companies are turning their back on the nucleus of these employees that make these companies go. And then when we're talking about aerospace and defense and airplanes, if we don't have the adequate number of people to push production and make sure that these planes are safe, it's a military, remember, defense is part of it. What does that do from the operational standpoint of our military? If we end up in some kind of conflict, you have the two wars going on in Ukraine and Russia and the Gaza Strip. This strike could have a detrimental effect on not only our U.S. economy, but also the overall welfare and public safety of our American citizens. Please pay close attention to this Boeing strike, this international longshoreman dock worker strike, because even if you don't work there, you may think this cannot affect you. It absolutely can. This plug in the supply chain, this unhealthy treatment of these employees at Boeing and at Eaton and some of these companies, they need to get that corrected quick, fast, in a hurry. Tell me what you think about this strike with Boeing and now with Eaton here in the St. Louis Metro East. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience, Manifest Your Truth.